And I just want to say this to brag on us and to brag on this city. This is how good the Huntsville City Classic field was.
Yeah.
I just want to let everybody know about this just real quick right now.
Yeah.
Okay? The 4A state champion was in the field. The 5A state champion was in the field. The 7A runner-up was in the field. And the 7A state champion was in the field. And the two 7As played each other in the first round.
Yeah, and it was a one-point game.
It was a 49-48 James Clemens win. And I say all of that to tell you how deep the field was. None of these four teams won the tournament.
I know.
None of them reached the finals.
I know.
Lee finished third. Just to let you know. And then Huntsville High, who I still think had, one of the top four teams. It just depends on your draw. I still think Huntsville was better than Baker, and I saw Baker down there. But, hey, all I'm saying is Huntsville finished in the Elite Eight, and Huntsville finished fourth, okay?
Yeah.
That's how deep that Huntsville City Classic field was. It is a tremendous basketball tournament. And Coach Brett Harrelson, I asked him in the postgame, and he and he even admitted, he said, coming to Huntsville, I think, really helped us and gave us a big boost in winning the state championship.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
Yeah.
Was where the direction you took it in.
Yeah.
And that was, if you really want a preview of what's going to happen in late February and early March, just saddle up in late December. And most of you do that are listening to this program.
That's why we sell the gym out.
But, I mean, it's kudos to everybody that puts that tournament together, most notably Coach Stapler.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Scott Stabler was there on Saturday. His niece played for Vestavia Hills. Those young ladies lost a tough one to Hoover. Hoover's a very, very good team, but so is Vestavia. But it's just one of those things, man. It's a very, very good tournament. We're going to have another very, very good field next year with a lot of great talent. And so always support the Huntsville City Classic, and next year will be a huge deal because it'll be the 40th.
Is Jordan Frazier a senior?
Yes.
Oof.
Frazier is a senior, and he nearly had the game-winning bucket and really played tremendous basketball down the stretch. Really felt for him because he played so hard and so well and led that team and helping to elevate them. And John Paul Gilmore, too, their post player who was wearing a knee brace, who aggravated the knee during the game. So he played through that. And then my guy, I was going up and down press row, just ranting and raving, just telling everybody, you better watch 23. You better watch 23. He's a freshman. He's basically Jimmy Chitwood out of the movie. And he backed me up because he had 14 in the semifinals, had 14 in the championship game. And the fate of basketball, he shot a three from the corner that rimmed out that would have probably been the nail in the coffin, for James Clemens. And I mean, trust me, there was a lot of media there, and I got to tell you, a lot of them there's a lot of podcasts out there. A lot of guys were making lists, looking at future guys, and it was. Let's put it this way. Simon Walker was not on some of their lists for 2025. But,
he is now.
But there was people, I got to get out my notepad. And they're calling people and they're talking. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just saying, he's just scratching the surface about how good he can be. And so it was neat to watch him on a big stage shine. And again, kudos to North Alabama, who took home basically 12 of the championships. It was a tremendous week for North Alabama basketball, and it shows how seriously it's taken in this part of the state, how good it is. I know that the South and the Southwest wants to get in there and get some blue maps, and it was good for Enterprise. I mean, because Enterprise, as good as they are, they're kind of in the middle of no man's land. They don't get a lot of coverage. You don't see them. I mean, Elijah Terry, their MVP, is a freakazoid. He doesn't have any committable offers right now from the standpoint he's not committed.
Yeah.
He's got some Florida JUCOs, some really good JUCO programs looking at him. He has the academics, but the thing is that they're just not – even in this day of Huddle and NFHS and all that, because the thing with recruiting right now in basketball, especially on the Division I level, is the transfer portal. And it's a lot of these teams, especially mid-major teams, are like, well, we're in the portal. They're waiting for guys to come back down to them instead of recruiting, high school players. And so it's tough. but there's some really good players out there that are going to be either in the junior college circuit or maybe even Division II that are going to be really, really good.
Well, there's plenty to get to from the news of the weekend. It was also the final weekend of SEC basketball, and the SEC basketball tournament bracket is now set. We know where everyone is going to be as we start on Wednesday. And congratulations certainly are in order. Fourth time in school history that the Auburn Tigers have captured the crown, and it was an outright crown for the Auburn Tigers as well, and what was a decisive victory for the Auburn Tigers over South Carolina. I watched a lot of that game on Saturday.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see that or the Alabama game, but trust me, I was filled in on the Alabama game, and I
was going to get to the Alabama game.
Well, no, we are, but
I watched a lot of that Alabama-LSU game that went into overtime.
Yep.
It's almost as if Alabama snatched defeat from the jaws of victory.
They really did in this case. But, I was in Birmingham the whole day, and then I went through something I've never been through in about almost 10 years of covering the state finals. You probably heard about this.
Oh, yeah.
The craziest part, we're finishing post-game with the unbelievable run by the Coleman Bearcats. Another shout-out to Stu Studeman and them. We're going to try to catch up with him this week on the show. But Coleman made history. First state title ever.
Yeah.
And this is – we're talking – nobody and I'll freely admit this. I didn't have them winning it. I had Hazel Green knocking them out. I had Scottsboro knocking them, but they just kept plugging. Now, by the time they got down to Birmingham, I was believing. And I'm just telling you, this team just outworked everybody. They're a blue-collar, scrappy team. I would say, and I think Stu would even agree with me there, I don't know that they have a great player, but, boy, they got a bunch of good players. And they got a lot of depth, and guys do their job. And I'm going to tell you what, they beat a really good Huffman team that's got a really good program. They outworked them. And, but we were in there wrapping up post-game about one more question, and then we heard some screaming, some yelling. I'm thinking, that they're about to start the next game. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm not worried about it. But then you heard some rumbling. You're like, what's going on? And, there's someone at the door of the press room. It swings open all of a sudden. A stampede of people run in. All of a sudden, I didn't even move. I was in the front row, and I just sat there. All of a sudden, it's Coach Stu and his players. They duck down, then they run out. Tables getting flipped over, drinks getting thrown everywhere, bottles, chairs flipped. It was just like a hurricane went through in about a 3, 4, 5 minute period, and then all of a sudden it was over. And then you're sitting there going, "What's going on?" And then you start hearing, out there that it looks like they've cleared the arena, and there was a report of gunshots. Now, later I was told that it may have been fake because I never heard anything like that. We were in the press room. But
it was certainly being reported on social media.
It certainly was, but we never heard anything, and so it was crazy.
Yeah.
I got a call from a coach checking on me, and because his daughter had been in the student section with Coleman. He's from Coleman, and he lost track of his daughter. Didn't find her until they got outside the arena. But after about 10 minutes or so, they started letting people come back in. But it was just crazy. I've never been through anything like that. It was kind of unnerving. But it all happened so fast that my whole instinct was I didn't get down, but I was just like, I'm not moving. Mm-hmm. I turned my head to see what was going on, but I was like, I'm just going to sit here and see what, and hopefully nothing's bad's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But, because sometimes if you move, that's the worst thing you can do because you don't know where things are coming from. So it was crazy, but to the credit of the AHSAA and the police and all the other things, it was a little hiccup, and then everything got back to normal.
Good.
But it just delayed the start of the 7A girls game, but it was crazy. For a second there, I'd never been through anything like that. heard about things like that, heard about interruptions, and luckily in our community here in Huntsville, at least at games I've been to, we've never had that happen. But it was crazy. But again, credit to Coleman. They did a great job. Before that, Tim Miller and Hazel Green, they finished 35-0.
Yeah,
I mean, they're one of the best teams in the country, not just the state of Alabama.
I guess the only comment I can add into that scenario is the only kind of chaos situation I was ever a part of was the Olympic Park bombing.
Oh yeah. Because you were part of that. That was in Atlanta.
I was running the Braves radio network at the time, and WSB had a live booth inside Olympic Park, and all of a sudden I hear a rumble, and then I got to wake up people in the middle of the night because the Braves are on a West Coast swing, and we're still winding down the post game. But yeah, that's in terms of craziness, that's probably the biggest one that I vividly remember having to wake up my boss, the TV boss, and it was.
I can say this too, and about positivity in Huntsville City. While there was heartbreak on the women's side for Lee, there was ecstasy on the boys' side because my guy Jakari Lane, Dexter Woods,
unreal,
and then the man who really in the postseason,
Dexter Smith,
was onions, and that's Deavius Woods. Okay, the junior. Now he's going to be the dude next year.
Yeah,
but I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
I mean, Dex played well. So did Jakari. Jakari's the solid as a rock guy. As I told the dude on press row, if the cat was 6'2", he'd be going to Alabama or Auburn. Okay,
you're right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
UNA got a really good player, but Greg Brown, who I've known since before he was head coach at Lee, that's how old I'm getting. I'm just telling you, he cemented himself in the AHSAA Hall of Fame. This is his third title, 69-68. And I got to give a shout-out to Denton Johnson, Scottsboro alum, and done a great job as head coach of Ramsey. They overcame some adversity in this game because, unfortunately, it was the first time something like this had happened since Stanley Robinson back in the day when he was playing for Huffman. But Carrington Keel, who had 16 points and 7 rebounds early in the second quarter, got ejected for 2 taunting technical fouls. First, he bumped into a Lee player, and they were jawing, and they called basically a double technical. And then later in the game, maybe, I don't know, half a quarter later, he got an and one basket. Well, they didn't call the and one. He got an offensive rebound and put it back in, and he yelled and one, and the other official threw him out of the game. Now, I'm just going to say this. In that type of situation, to me, one of those needs to be a warning and not a technical foul.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
You don't need to eject a young man from the
I
state
heard about this
championship
situation
game in that type of deal.
Yeah, I heard about this situation in the UAH game I was covering, and I threw my hands up and was just like, "Are you kidding me?"
Now, I mean,
are you kidding me? You get thrown out of a game by saying "and one,"
and the young man knew that he already had the first technical on the offsetting when he yelled the and one. But again, it wasn't a curse word. It wasn't he talking junk. It was just and one.
How many kids say and one after a foul?
And it happens all the time.
Yes.
You hear coaches yell it.
Yes.
So how do you know it wasn't a coach at first, even though I'm sure the ref was running past Carrington when he said it. But I just thought it was a missed opportunity, that it should have been, hey, a warning. Say it when you're going by instead of trying to get on television to have a moment as a ref. Okay, I'm just going to say that because I didn't really appreciate that. But I will give Ramsey credit though and their coaching staff. Carrington Keel was just distraught when it first happened, but he got himself under control, went in, gave his team a pep talk, and they really played their tails off after that, and then came very, very close to still winning the championship. It was unbelievable.
Plenty to get into. Coach Coach John Schulman is going to join us. Jeff is his alter ego.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, what a win for Jeff's ladies yesterday. Some onions in that game.
We'll talk to Coach Schulman coming up in hour number 2, I believe. We'll now take your phone calls at 256-576-4977. I'm sure we'll talk some women's basketball out of the gate here with Jeff from the Borough.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Jeff?
Well, no kids up here say and one, so I don't know what y'all talking about on that. I've never heard of kids in high school in Tennessee say and one if they make a basket, so I don't know what that deal is, but nonetheless, I watched the game yesterday. I watched the ladies' game. I didn't think they had a chance to win, and they weren't going to make the tournament unless they won the SEC tournament. Of course, they did that, so it don't really matter now. But the programs went through a lot of adversity the last few years with Matthew Mitchell having to retire, and then Elsie taking the interim and then the permanent, and so it's been a lot of stuff, and they went through a lot of stuff. They were 2-8 at one time in the league, and to win 10 in a row and come off the mat and beat the teams they beat, says a lot for the coaching staff, the kids. Ryan Howard has her championship now that she's been wanting for 4 years, and so her legacy was always secure, but it really is now. So hopefully they got more games to play. I don't know what their seed's going to be in the NCAA tournament, but I'm proud of them, and the difference is years ago coaches wouldn't root for teams like they do now, and Calipari and his wife were in the stands yesterday rooting them all, and that's the difference. When you've got coaches that band together and pull together, then you can do things, and that's
Christy Curry got bounced from her last game against Tennessee in the first half.
Yeah, she did. She didn't really.
Yeah.
They asked her about the officiating. She didn't comment on it because she didn't want to.
Well, yeah.
She didn't want to become
Didn't
wanna-
she does, so.
Yeah, I mean,
She'll get fined and suspended if she does, so she can't comment.
right.
You can't do that.
I
so.
can. Though Jeff, I can confirm that she told the truth about where she was going because I did shake her hand when I saw her in Birmingham a little bit later that day, or the next day, I should say. Excuse me, the next day.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I just
She was in Birmingham.
I just tell you one of her recruits up in Carlton Weathers, her team got eliminated Saturday night. They're not going to be in the state tournament, but
Yeah.
I know she'll come down Alabama. You know her father is.
Yeah, David Weathers. Yep.
Yeah, they played. He pitched in Loretto for forever. He pitched back in the day, and then went to big leagues. And his son Ryan Weathers is playing in big leagues too now. So she played volleyball in the fall too. She was a volleyball player. They played the state tournament volleyball too. But I've never seen her play basketball. They say she's a good ball player. So I will wait and see on that. But no, they faced adversity, and they overcame it. So society tells you to lay down and stuff, but
No.
they didn't do that. So how many more games they've got, I have no idea.
But they're in. I think they were
so.
in anyway, but they definitely in now.
Oh yeah, they're in now. I didn't think they were in. They didn't win a tournament. If they didn't win a tournament, they shouldn't have been in.
It was probably going to be. They were on the bubble.
Well, I know
7 seed.
They weren't going to be unless they won the tournament. They did that, so it don't really matter now. But
Yep.
as far as the guys go, I mean, it's like Calipari says, just go play. He don't like conference tournaments anyway. He never has.
Yeah.
He's been trying to get the SEC to change it Saturday night, and they won't do it. They're like the Rose Bowl. They're going to stand their ground. They ain't going to do nothing about it. They're going to play Sunday like they always do, like the SEC and Big Ten do. All these other major conferences, the ACC, the Big East, and the rest of them play Saturday night. But the SEC, like I told y'all before, they ain't worried about basketball. They never have been. They never will be. It's all about football. It's what it's about. That's what it's going to continue to be about. And you guys know it, and everybody knows it. So this stuff of 7, 8 teams getting in, a bunch of mess. Florida shouldn't be in. LSU shouldn't be in. They're frauds. They're overrated, both of them. I don't know if Alabama should be in either, but we'll wait and see on Sunday and what they'll end up doing when they get in. I predict Florida and LSU, they'll probably get bounced in the first round. Like I say, and so all they do is look at conference affiliation. They don't care about what you're doing during the season. They just worry about what they think you're in the SEC, so you must be good, and you're not. That's just what it amounts to as far as that goes. But it's tournament time. I mean, it's Tampa and all that. So we'll just see what happens, and and all that kind of thing, and hopefully hopefully Kentucky can do the double. And I don't know if it's ever been done in SEC history, but we'll have to wait and see. And guys, have a good one and enjoy the show.
Thank you, Jeff. We do need to take our first time out. Just getting out of the gate here on a Monday morning. Steve in for Scott, Drew DeArmond, Chad Gwathney mixing us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck in Decatur at 8th and Central. There's actually two different wrecks there. One of them a head-on collision with some injury. The other one, we had a traffic signal pole knocked down, so there may be part of the signal on the ground. Are you over 35 and overweight? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The PGA Tour's Corn Ferry Tour is coming to the Rocket City. Join us at the Ledges for the inaugural Huntsville Championship, April 29th through May 2nd. Experience the beauty and drama of the course firsthand. Witness golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. Cheer on the future of golf up close and personal. Tickets are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Basketball was originated in America in 1891.
Filling out and busting brackets since the 1970s.
Let this be a reminder to you all that this organization will not tolerate failure.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Good Monday morning to you. Steve Moulton, Drew DeArmond with you this Monday morning. UAH head coach John Shulman going to join us at the top of the hour. Jake Crane also going to talk some Auburn basketball, and maybe we'll sneak in a little football talk, as it is the month of March after all. And what we are on the Auburn calendar, I believe we're a week away from the start of spring drills after a tumultuous month. Has it been a month? I want to say about a month.
It probably feels like about 6 months to Brian Harsin.
Yeah.
But Alabama's going to get underway as well this week on the 11th.
Oh, that's right.
Right before they
need to check in before spring break.
Yeah. And then make sure you're in shape when you come back. But, so both Alabama and Auburn are about to get underway with spring practice. But this is basketball time. I mean, I'm not even focusing on basketball. But speaking of basketball, we've got a caller on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. I know he wants to talk some hoops, and that's our good friend Richard. Richard, what's up, man? Good morning.
Hey, not much. I was just going to see how surprised you were at Duke losing over.
I just told Steve off the air. I did not even. I was in Birmingham, Richard, with your good friend Dick Coffey and many others all day. I mean, I'm talking. I was there 8:55 a.m. till it wrapped up after 9 p.m. and I did not even check that score. Of course, I had been checking Alabama, and I had been filled in via text, via call, all that kind of stuff. But I didn't even check it until I got to the car, and I was quite frankly stunned. I would have thought it would have been the exact opposite because Duke had run them out of Chapel Hill and in the Dean Dome. But obviously this young Duke team wasn't ready, and there was a lot of pomp and circumstance. Coach K had so many former players there. There was so much talked about. And North Carolina played like they were desperate because they weren't for sure in the tournament. I think they are now.
Yeah.
I think they should have been anyway. But again, there was some talk of them being on the bubble, and so Hubert's team was ready to play, and they played their best game of the year, and they win 94-81. You got to give them tons of credit for completely turning that around. And I've seen a turnaround like that in Alabama basketball before, and back in darker days. It was it was David Hobbs because his last season, if you remember correctly, they lost by about 45 or 50 at Auburn, and then they turned around and beat the same Auburn team like less than 2 weeks later by 14 in Coleman Coliseum. So I've seen those.
I was at the one in Auburn and not the one in Tuscaloosa. So I made a mistake on which one to attend that year.
Well, I was in college at that time, and excuse me, I should say about to be in college, but I did go to the one in Tuscaloosa. I did not go to. I watched the one in Auburn, and we all know what happened. He was let go at the end of that season. But yeah, I mean, I've seen turnarounds like that. It's pretty crazy. It just goes to show you the rivalry, with Duke and Carolina. It's why it's the best one in college basketball.
I went down to watch the Bama game with my son, and then visited my mother there in Gardendale. So I missed. By the time I got home and did a few things with my wife, I cut it. I forgot what time it came on, and it was like mid-second half and close. But the last 4 or 5 minutes, Duke just couldn't defend.
Right.
I mean, just really just bad defense and taking bad shots. I mean, almost like what you see with Bama or something. I mean, out there, just North Carolina was basically getting it inside and taking pretty good shots, and really the guy from Oklahoma, Fleming, was hitting from three.
Mm-hmm.
They would leave him open and he'd drill it out, but. Like I said, I was really surprised when I cut it on, and it was like a tie game or a 1 point difference. I was kind of assuming a 20-point blowout.
Yeah,
we all were.
Yeah,
we
all thought Duke would win the game and win it handily. There's no question about that. I mean, I'll freely admit that's what I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm heading down to Tampa tomorrow late afternoon, so I'm gonna head down there for. I probably may not stay Sunday, but I'll be down there for most of the week. So.
Oh, there you go. I mean, yeah, Mr. Coffey was telling me he was going to be going, so I told him not. I told him, the gas is $4 a gallon, man. I can't make it.
Yeah, we got a group of about 8 of us heading down to watch something. I mean, you got to think this may be the most talent, or maybe since like 95 or 6 when you had Pitino and Nolan, bringing in those teams. But I mean, you got to think, you got like, really 6 really, 4 excellent teams, and then 2 or 3 more very good teams.
I do wonder how well this tournament is going to be attended.
Yeah, I'm
Tampa.
fascinated for that too.
It's important for Florida. There's no doubt about that, and they've got a little bit of a home court advantage, at least out of the gate. But there's no doubt Kentucky fans will show up. But I do wonder, like Arkansas fans, Tennessee fans.
Well, your difference is like in Nashville. Let's just say Kentucky wins on Friday.
Yeah, that late arriving.
Yeah, it'd be let's say it beat Tennessee. So all of a sudden you got a lot of tickets available. They drive down an hour.
Yep.
And are there, but you can't drive to Tampa in an hour.
No,
no.
That's a haul unless you fly on a plane. Now are y'all are driving, right, Richard?
Yeah, we're driving. I got a buddy of mine, a Bama fan from South Bend, Indiana, and he's flying in, but the rest of us are all from Birmingham area. So
right.
So we're all. I'm picking up like 3 guys in Birmingham tomorrow after work. So we're going to get down somewhere south of Atlanta.
Nice.
And then head down the rest of the way. We got to be there for Georgia. Don't want to miss the Georgia game.
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Tom Crean's last stand.
One win on the year.
Yeah.
One win on the year.
That albatross for Alabama. But I'm sorry, Jeff from the Borough. Alabama's getting in, and they deserve to get in, and so does LSU.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to be an elitist and say Kentucky's about the only one that deserves to get in. You didn't say that last year, and they sucked. Go ahead.
Tom Crean does say he has one more than Patrick Ewing.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, I saw that T-shirt, 0-19.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That Georgetown would be that bad. I mean, they won the Big East tournament last year.
We had Sonny Vaccaro on Friday, and he is very hopeful that Coach Ewing can stick around. And at least hearing from Patrick Ewing, he wants to correct the wrong that has happened this year. So I hope they give him the opportunity.
All this smells to me is that it's another NBA guy that can't coach college basketball.
We'll see.
Well, part of it is a little bit like Georgia is, their better players all transfer out. Like Georgia lose 9 last year.
Yeah, they did. They lost a lot.
You have 3 starting in the SEC and 1 at Dayton.
Yep. I mean, they had a good backcourt. Xavier Wheeler and KD Johnson, and one's at Kentucky and one's at Auburn. That's the 2 best teams in the league. And sorry, Jeff, they're the 2nd best team. But
But like you had McClellan, transferred 2 years out of Georgetown.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, went to Texas Tech.
Yeah, and I think one of their other players is at Maryland. So I mean, there's just these guys, now with the transfer portal, I guess you better.
You got to be able to manage your roster and keep most of your players. Now you're going to have some guys hit it, and sometimes that's mutual, where you want a guy to hit the transfer portal. But I mean, it is what it is. But I will get your thoughts, Richard, real quickly here. Alabama, Steve talked about, snatching, victory from defeat from the jaws of victory there. That's kind of what it sounded like to me. Now, I got a little, I grinded my gears a little bit reading all the stuff about people criticizing J.D. Davison because he didn't know the shot clock situation. But
the game was lost before then.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, one play doesn't lose a game. I mean, the usual, you have turnovers, but like 3 of them, there's like a defender on the man in between. It's like, in other words, it was impossible to throw the pass. I mean, it was just, you could have thrown it 55 times, and it was going to be intercepted 55 times.
Right.
And 3 or 4 of those out, and really, basically the last couple of minutes in overtime, they just couldn't get a good shot off. And LSU's a good defensive team. But Shackelford wasn't in there, but he was 0 for 8. But but what got them was Ellis was on fire first half, and basically Shackelford and Ellis quit shooting.
Yeah, and then
they missed. But the offense is if you're open for 3 and you're a shooter, you shoot, and they would basically get stuck in the lane and then throw the ball away. Versus, to me, a good shot might go in, a bad pass isn't going in.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. Yeah, I mean that's what I told some folks when I was studying the game afterwards and the box score and then getting info from folks. I told some people, I said, look, they need to be aware of the shot clock, but who knows if the shot even goes in. And the coaches, and Nate Oates admitted I should have told JD and made sure he knew, but my assistants thought he did. So, in other words, it was a coaching staff breakdown there. But, again.
Sometimes on that is they may know he knows, and they're going to cover for him.
Yeah. Well, that too. But I will say this, though. when you look at it, the biggest thing for me was what you just talked about. Alabama's not going to win with Jayden Shackford going 3 for 14 and 0 for 8. Look, bruh, if you're going to take 8 threes, you better hit something. Okay?
Yeah,
0 for 8, that's like a dead man out there not giving you anything. You got to hit some shots, brother.
Have you ever seen another guy point his toes away from where he's shooting? I mean, listen, I know it. He is an excellent shooter, but that just bothers me. That bothers me more than anything.
He doesn't have.
It looks like he's shooting towards the baseline and not.
He's very unorthodox in the way he shoots the basketball.
Yeah.
I will say that. I mean, Keon Ellis is much more textbook. I always think Keon's are going in.
Yeah.
That when he had the game against Mississippi State, it was rather shocking. But I do think there were some positive things. Darius Miles played well. I still think this team can make a run. I still think
they're capable.
But the problem is, it's just like the biggest thing they did well against LSU is they out-rebounded them. They out-offensive rebounded them.
Yeah. I thought Bediako played well.
And I mean, but the problem is when they rebound and they defend better, which is what they did against LSU, well, then they turn the ball over 21 times.
Yeah.
They've got to find a way to cut some of those down.
Yeah, a lot of people were complaining about Bediako not playing, but he only played for the Reed guy that LSU ball.
It was a matchup deal. That's why Darius Miles played 24 minutes. That's what people have to understand. It's a matchup deal instead of complaining, why is James Rojas playing? Why is this? Why is that? It's a matchup situation. That's why they didn't play Charles Bediako as much.
I mean, your perfect example is go look at Missouri. You tried to play Bediako twice. Up there it failed. At Missouri it failed, and basically, it was terrible in Tuscaloosa. They had to pull him out just because they went small.
Yeah.
Well, every team's goal is not to win a regular season title. It is to play your best basketball in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and regardless of one of our callers, Alabama does deserve to be in. They played a tougher schedule than Kentucky. Yeah, that's right. They played a tougher schedule than the Kentucky Wildcats. So that's why they should be in.
They played the toughest schedule in the nation. So
yeah,
no doubt about it.
A lot of these teams, you may see a lot of these teams get in, that they beat, in November, December here in the next couple of days.
Well, look at Memphis, Richard. Memphis has completely turned it around. I tried to tell people they were talented.
Yeah,
and I had a media member who I respect greatly who told me they had no NBA players. And I'm like, no NBA players. They've got.
What is he watching?
I was like, they've got at least 3, and 2 maybe are going to be lottery
I was thinking
picks.
Definitely 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, and so they finally figured it out.
10-1 in their last 11 games.
Right. I mean,
I did hear a good quote from Penny, and he goes, "How come you guys don't let me, have a break until late February, March, like you do Izzo?" But he doesn't have a track record. But I mean, he kind of had a point. He goes, "How come you start, telling me we've already lost everything, and the season's not even over?" And kind of like everybody gives Izzo a break every year.
Yeah, well, he has a lot of pelts on the wall, though. You're right about that, Richard.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate the phone call.
Safe travels.
256-576-4977 is the telephone number.
They got to be splitting the gas 4 ways, man.
Ooh.
I'm just telling you, it's brutal. By the
time
I
gassed up last night, and it was...
What was it last night? It was $3.99 Saturday night.
Actually, I filled up at the Circle K on Jordan.
Yeah.
And I want to say I walked away about $44 less in my pocket.
Well, for
a full gas tank.
I can just tell you that, I mean, I saved 15 cents a gallon, and it was still $3.84. Okay? It's brutal.
Yes, it is.
I mean, think about this. Jeff has done I will give Jeff some kudos. He works a lot of high school sports. He's been keeping us up to date on the high school basketball situations going on in Tennessee. And the sectionals are tonight. And Brandon Miller is hosting the McDonald's All-American headed to Alabama about an hour and a half away in Nashville tonight. But there ain't no way that I'm going to drive and make that three-hour round trip with these gas prices. I just need to find some TV.
Quickly, I did want to congratulate the Alabama gymnastics team.
Yes.
As they won their second consecutive Elevate the Stage. And here in Huntsville, beating Auburn, Arkansas, Georgia, and that was over at the VBC. Another very well-attended event from the pictures that I saw, and kudos again to the Huntsville Sports Commission for putting on a fantastic stage for SEC gymnastics right here in our own backyard. So
yeah, no doubt. I mean, and like I told you, Steve, I was there Saturday in Birmingham, and I got to give them credit. The newly refurbished Legacy Arena, beautiful place. Enjoyed going down for a few days this week. And again, great for North Alabama. The Gunners of the ladies get it done for the first time ever. The Lee boys repeat. Tim Miller's group 5 in a row that ties a state record. They go, as we said, 35-0. No question. Coleman and the 6A boys. And then Hoover's girls, but then 7A, even though they lost a heartbreaker 66-64, big shout out to James Clemens basketball and how far they came, and it was just a great week of basketball, and again, it was good to have it back in the BJCC and to see the new arena.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of work went into it, and I also saw, I haven't been inside of it, but as you know, just right around the corner is Progressive Field.
Yep.
Where UAB plays, so it's really, really nice down there.
A cold front is coming through today, so get ready for some storms later on today. It was very windy heading out of the house this morning, but these 70s are going to go away, and the 60s are right around the corner. It's going to be very wet this week here in North Alabama, so just stay advised and be weather aware. Always be weather aware during some change of seasons here in North Alabama. Let's take our final time out. Brandon, if you stick with us, we'll get right to you on the other side here on Talkin Ball this Monday morning.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still working on a couple of wrecks in Decatur. Central and 8th, we had damage to the traffic signal, and then we had a head-on collision in that same area. That one sent a couple of folks to the hospital. Popeye's Flounder Fish Sandwich is now only $4.49. You can make it a combo for $6.49 at Popeye's. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Championships are won right here.
0-2. Come on now. Chopper out to Dansby. Dansby throws to first base. Is this happening? It is! The Atlanta Braves are world champions. The Atlanta Braves have won the 2021 World Series in 6 games over the Houston Astros. Pure euphoria down on the field. And in the booth.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is your big game headquarters all fall long. And with our new fall features, every day is game day at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Try our pregame starters, including our homemade onion strings, always fresh hot lips, and our all-new Buffalo Dip and Chicken appetizer. Our main events include incredible chicken, fish, and shrimp selections, always featuring local Alabama Gulf seafood. And don't forget our Sunday Blitz, 11 to 6. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your Your shingles, we can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
I love overpriced stuff. Avocados, designer t-shirts, artisanal water. That's why I get my internet from the other guys. Paying more for the same stuff. What could be better?
Wow is better. For just $19.99 a month, we give you the super fast, extra reliable internet you need. Act now before this deal is gone. Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, learn how to get up to $300 on us. Sign up at Huawei.com. Wow. Limited to new customers with auto pay and paperless billing. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Good Monday morning to you. Steve Moulton, Drew DeArmond here on Talkin' Ball on the 7th day of March. SEC basketball tournament set to start on Wednesday. You're home for the SEC. All things SEC is 97.7 ESPN The Zone. There is some news coming out of college football that came out late yesterday, Drew, and that is former Arizona quarterback Jayden Daniels has committed to play for Brian Kelly and the LSU Tigers.
Well, this was something I had been hearing about for the last few weeks. Once Jayden Daniels went into the transfer portal, because he's a graduate transfer too, by the way.
I still like Miles Brennan to be the starting quarterback there.
I do.
My 2 cents.
I do not. I think it's going to be Jayden Daniels, and I think that's why they brought him in.
Really?
Yes. I think Miles Brennan wouldn't surprise me after spring practice if he exits stage left and he's back in the portal and going somewhere else. Because to me, you don't take Jayden Daniels if you think Miles Brennan's the complete answer here. Because you've got Walker Howard, who's a 5-star quarterback, the son of Mr. Interception. Sorry, I had to call him that. I'll never forget that game in 1993. Sorry, Coach Hallman, but it was just absolutely an
abomination. It is what it is.
But and one of the greatest comebacks in Auburn football history. I mean, and what I mean by abomination is that you keep throwing and you just blow a game. But that was when Auburn was on that magical win streak under Terry Bowden. It was unbelievable. And again, and that was just that was either 93 or 94. It may have been 94.
93.
Well, it was one of the two. But I just remember unbelievable, comeback for Auburn. And again, Jamie Howard was the quarterback, but his son Walker Howard is a great prospect. So you have him. And so it's just going to be interesting to see. But I think Jayden Daniels was brought in to start.
Brandon is holding on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, I'm assuming, Mr. Guathney. So let's talk to Brandon.
What's up, Brandon?
Guys, I take it that Brandon Harris wasn't available to go back to LSU?
No.
Okay, well, you're talking about throwing interceptions and not being any good. So
I could quote the strength coach from Louisiana Lafayette about that young man, but I am not going to say what he said, even though he did say it on the air.
Yes, he did.
That's he'll always be an anomaly to me. How Les Miles couldn't figure out that dude could not throw quarterback. I don't think he could throw trash in a truck if it was standing still. It just never got it. But that over the weekend, I sent Drew a video of Effingham, Illinois' 1A sectional championship.
Well, that was a shot.
Making Meridian High School against Tuscola.
Yeah.
And it's at the buzzer, and this kid throws a 7/8 of a court shot in the air.
It was more like a shot. I didn't think it was a throw. I thought it was a shot, a two-handed shot.
It looked like a shot to me.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was a shot. I just said, he's throwing prayers, and he threw it.
Oh.
And it went in.
It was unreal.
I was shocked. I mean, he was just past the three-point line on their side of the court.
Yeah.
Couple feet, and it went in, and I thought, my God. I was like, that kid right there.
This time of year, some onions.
Glory. Oh, to throw up a shot like that, because you imagine what your coach would say to you if that thing airballs or doesn't even make the rim for you to make it. God, I mean, talk about how unbelievable it'd be to be that guy. But the only other thing I saw over the weekend I thought was unbelievable was what Darren Ravel posted.
Oh.
I know that's probably a staff copy of that letter.
I missed that. What did he post?
Duke posted, Darren Ravel got a staff copy
yes.
of a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, got hold of a copy of a letter that Mike Krzyzewski, the year he took over in the preseason, mailed Michael Jordan a recruiting letter telling him that he was sorry that he was no longer interested in Duke, but that he was going to be an impact player.
Yeah, called him Mike.
Hats off to Mike. He called him Mike.
Yeah.
Hats off to them for keeping records that deep. To me, that is a Hall of Fame document.
Yeah, now you can see stuff like that. It really is. It really is.
That, I mean, in front of Coach's bust, that letter needs to be there. And if you don't believe that pettiness and lowdown is still alive, go look at the comments under that post of people talking, saying, "Oh, well, what if he'd have went to Duke?" And people saying, "Oh, he'd have been another overrated, no good pile of trash player, just like all the rest of them." I mean, the pettiness between those fan bases, they can't even get along long enough to honor the two of those. Like, if you read those comments, it devolves into people being blocked, thrown off Twitter. I mean, it's one of the greatest things in sports. I read it for about 5 minutes and just laughed and laughed.
Well, all I can say is, Brandon, and you know me pretty well, but somebody was talking about UNC this weekend in a group message I was in, and he was lauding and saying it was laughing his tail off about Carolina beating Duke in Coach Krzyzewski's last game. And it's like I told him, I said, "Look, man, I will never in my life wear Carolina gear." I said the only good thing that ever came out of Carolina was Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time. But other than that, as the old mantra goes, go to hell, Carolina. I could care less. I'm a Duke guy. My shade of blue will always be royal and not Kentucky Royal, Jeff. Sorry. Christian Laettner says, hey. But I'm just saying, But it's a great rivalry.
Your blue's better?
Yes, no doubt.
Okay. I just wanted to hear you say that because real Duke fans say our blue's better. So.
Yeah, they do.
Roll Tide, I'm out.
Thank you, sir.
Speaking of blue, we'll talk
Charger Royal Blue.
There you go. Some Charger Royal Blue on the other side with Coach John Schulman.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse barbecue bacon sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. Our problems this morning have been in Decatur around Central and 8th. 2 different wrecks there. One a head-on collision with a couple of injuries involved. The other one damaged the traffic signal. Still may be trying to get that all straightened out. Everything else looks good. Heavy traffic load. You be careful. No hose, no mask. Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, has info on the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect scattered showers and thunderstorms. A few of these thunderstorms could be on the strong to severe side. High temperatures will be topping out near 70 degrees for the afternoon. For your Monday night, expect a mostly cloudy sky, a few lingering showers, low temperatures falling into the 40s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Get the edge you need to complete your best bracket ever. VSiN's Bracket Betting Guide is just $3.99 at vsin.com/hoops. That's vsin.com/hoops.
The Players' Championship Thursday through Sunday in Florida. Justin Thomas winning last year's tournament. He's second on the odds board this time around at plus 1,400, along with Rory McIlroy. Jon Rahm, the favorite, at plus 800. Colin Morikawa, plus 1,600. NHL, the latest futures have the Avalanche, the favorite to win the Stanley Cup, at plus 400. The Lightning at plus 600. Panthers, plus 700. With the regular season coming to an end and conference championships underway this week, Gonzaga still the best odds to win the national championship at plus 400. Kentucky right behind them at plus 650. Arizona plus 775, and Duke at plus 900.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hour number 2 here on a Monday morning. Steve Moulton, Drew DeArmond here with you. Coming up later on here in hour number 2, we will talk some Auburn athletics. This after Auburn cuts down the nets over the weekend after a home win against the South Carolina Gamecocks and ties up the regular season quite nicely, does the Auburn Tigers, as they are your 1 seed heading into the NCAA tournament. They should be a 1 seed heading into the NCAA tournament, but they still have the SEC tournament ahead of them. As your bracket looks like this, Auburn's a 1 seed, Tennessee a 2 seed, Kentucky a 3 seed, Arkansas is a 4 seed. Your 5 seed is the LSU Bengal Tigers, 6 seed is Alabama, and Bama will play the winner of Georgia Vanderbilt. Don't look now, but Vanderbilt's starting to get healthier under Coach Stackhouse and playing better, so that ought to be an interesting game. But speaking of cutting down nets, that's exactly what happened yesterday, Drew DeArmond, and I think we have the only person who could be angry heading into halftime up by 16.
Well, I was listening to the great call you and Scott had, and I've seen swings like that happen. It happened to Huntsville High in the Elite Eight. They were up 5 with the ball trying to finish the third quarter against Spain Park. They gave up a turnover and a dunk and then missed a 3 at the buzzer that was wide open and only had a 3-point lead at the end of the third quarter. That's not a 16-point lead, but
yeah.
It was it swung the whole game. And then UAH had a chance to go up 20.
Yeah.
Had a turnover.
Yeah.
They're up 18. Then they're only up 16. And then you knew what would happen because Union's so talented.
Yeah.
They came out punching. But UAH threw the last punch, and they're playing their best basketball. Our next guest told us how dangerous UAH was going to be this time of year, and the revenge tour is totally completed in the Gulf South Conference anyway, from the standpoint of winning it, as they got revenge over Union and before that West Alabama, as UAH wins the 5th Gulf South Conference tournament in the history of the program. And John Schulman is with us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline with his second one in 3 years. Coach, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Listening to y'all talk about all that stuff, I'm doing really good. Did we really win it?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And C.J. Williamson is the best player in the league. I'm sorry, I don't care if he didn't get all conference.
He may be the best player in America right now.
Yeah, agreed.
So you sure we won it? Because, like, I've been just joking to y'all the whole time about I don't want to play UAH in March. I was just trying to make sure I believed that myself. And so we did win it. And, yes, I was furious at halftime. We're up 6, we're up 18, and you're going, oh, my gosh, we got the last shot. We at least go up 18 at half. And then to go, golly, to give them the daggum ball and to get give up a dunk at the buzzer just gives them a little hope, and I wanted to kill Scott. Scott was the first person I saw want to kill him. And it wasn't Scott's fault, I don't think. But then every halftime, just be honest, the majority of the time you got a 5-minute. I give ourselves and myself a 5-minute period where I talk to our coaches and let the players just do their thing. It gives me a chance to understand, hey, man, we're up 16. We should be happy we're up 16. And that was a good period for us. That was a good period for us. I reminded myself we're up 16. We'd rather be up 16 and a half than down 16, I think. And but it did give us a little edge. CJ, if CJ doesn't play with an edge, he's like a 6-year-old kid playing upward. I mean, he's just having fun out there and just fooling around. And it kind of gave him, I was like, hey, listen, man, you screwed that up. All right, get it back. And he's that guy that he's a competitive dude when he's focused, and he got it back all right.
Well, I don't even know where to begin, Coach, of just so many twists and turns of the seasons. I'm even thinking of a big three by a kid named Harding. There have just been so many different times of the season where you kept it together. There was no doubt of the belief that this team had, even as being as young as they were, to cut down the nets yesterday was just surreal to be a part of.
Well, I'm just going to tell you that you can go down every one. If Dane Harding doesn't make that three at West Florida, we're not in the position that we're in. If Daniel Saylor doesn't save us at West Georgia in the first half, we're not in position. If Dalton Dodd doesn't save us when Cheney gets 2 fouls against West Out, we're not in the same. If Austin Leslie doesn't do what he's been doing, there's no. If Sutton Smith doesn't make that three yesterday, see, they punched us, and they got it to 5, and they got to 6, and they got to 5, and they got to 6, and we answered, and we answered, and we answered. Every single human helped us get that. And every single human, including you, Scott and Steve. Sorry, Drew. I didn't see enough.
I know. I was only there a couple times, Coach.
Every single human gets that ring because they deserve it, and they earned it. And everybody stepped up. And, listen, we had plenty of chances to say, hey, man, it's just not our year. We're too young. We're too dumb. It's just not our year. And, it's too big of a rebuilding job. Coach should have gotten a bunch of transfers. What on earth is he doing getting all those freshmen in? I knew he'd screw it up. And we didn't. And all the credit goes to those kids because they kept on battling. They kept on fighting. We were all out in Missouri together. We saw we were close. And then we reeled off about 8 in a row, and then we got in league play. I had someone tell me last night, it's an interesting text I got from a young man named J.C. Schulman after we got beat at Delta. He sent me a text and said, hey, Dad, I know you're mad as sauce right now, whatever sauce means. I'm not sure that one. All right. He said, I know you're mad as sauce right now. He said, but this loss is going to help you win a lot of games. None of your guys have ever been through something like that. So hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. He sent me that text again last night. It came full circle, huh?
There you go.
I was going to ask you what he texted after the Mississippi College game, Coach.
He said the doors are locked and we've changed the code, and you're not welcome at the house anymore. There's plenty of chances and plenty of times you say, well, we just knew that we had it in us. Well, in athletics, there's no this was a storybook ending and it's not done yet. But a lot of times it's not, and you don't get to have those storybook endings, and we did, and all the credit goes to those kids because they kept on battling and fighting. AUM, after the AUM game, I was like, we may be done. We were just fighting it. We were just trying to get in the tournament.
What, up 5 in the first overtime with a minute to go, I think?
Less than a minute. To go, up 5, and we lose that game. And I'm telling you, we went and ate pizza and went to American Underdog on that Monday night just to try to keep them together. And they were dumb enough to stay together. They loved each other enough to stay together. They cared for each other enough to stay together. And I don't give Max Schulman a lot of credit. He's my son, and I don't talk about him a whole lot. But he kind of changed his whole game and he went, hey, man, we just got to figure out a way to get these young guys better. And he coached on the floor. And he didn't make a daggum shot forever, but he did a lot of coaching on that daggum court, and I'm proud of him. He really wanted to help lead this team to something special, and he accidentally did.
Well, he did, and Coach, I got to say, speaking of guys coming of age, and I told Steve this off the air earlier, but my favorite, quote of the game, or one of his favorite quip was, they called a foul on Chaney Johnson, who was unbelievable in this game, and Steve goes, "That's his first foul. Just one? That's it?" And Chaney Johnson not in massive foul trouble in this game, Coach.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you. I've been coaching 35 years. Okay, Chaney Johnson has fouled out in 8 games this year,
and the semifinal game.
I have never coached a kid like that. Is something that little Tommy does in Upward, and because he can't keep his hands to himself, and he fouls out in every single game, and the parents laugh and have a drink later on and laugh at little Tommy. We're not talking about little Chaney. Hey, Chaney, stop fouling, bud. Stop getting involved in a mess. And so, listen, for Chaney to come back after Saturday night and play really well in front of all of his people in the Birmingham area, and to do what he did and make some huge buckets yesterday to answer.
Yeah,
he's a freshman.
Yeah,
and I will tell you another one. Luke Burnett hadn't made a shot, I think, since the Milligan game. All right, which was in November. For him to step up and make some huge shots and then drive it and get an and one, and we're going to. It's unbelievable. He can make a shot from 25, but he can't make one from 15. But we're going to talk about that. He struggled from the foul line, but we righted the ship enough, and we got that experience, and now we're sitting there. We wanted redemption number 8. I ain't gonna lie to you. We wanted Embry Riddle at number 2, but we get Barry. Butch Estes is the coach at Barry. He was at Furman when I was at East Tennessee State. We've known each other for 30 years. It's going to be a great opportunity for us to go down there and compete. We'll spend a lot of time today watching Barry. But like I'm always going to say, I'm not interested in Barry. I care less about Barry. I care about UAH and care about what we're doing. And we're going to work, and somebody's going to have to beat us. Somebody's going to have to beat us. We're not going to have to beat them. Someone's going to beat us, but we're going to do what we do, and we're pretty good at doing what we do.
The growth at point guard in particular for Jack Costle this year, and not necessarily shooting, but I mean he has been contributing shooting, but stealing and possessing the ball and not turning it over has been huge for you, Coach.
Did you say not turning it over when he had that backcourt call with about 5 to play? Is that what you said on air?
Yeah,
because I did not. What I said was probably not suitable for airtime.
Yeah.
Listen, what he's done, he gives size and athleticism, and he's got a really good feel on how to guard, and he understands who he is, and he understands his role, and he understands what he's got to do. But stepping up and listen, it's not fun to be a freshman in that type of situation in your first 3 of your second half when they're doubling off of you. He clanks it off the side of the backboard, doesn't hit a piece of the rim, and then you still got to get out there. And he turned the ball over in a huge time, and I looked at him, and he was stressing, and I was like, hey, man, next play. What are we going to do? Mm-hmm. Next play. And he did, and he got steal after steal, and they're just going to grow up. He's just going to grow up. He's just going to get better. They're all just going to get better, and the most important thing about keeping this tradition alive and keeping the program going is that these young kids get to see what, like the Josh Majests of the world, Jamie Smiths of the world, and David Ivies of what they got to experience. And you don't know what's in the NCAA tournament and what that's all about unless you get there.
Yeah.
So let's get all these young kids, the red shirts, all of them, down to Fort Lauderdale and say, hey, man, how cool is this? How cool is cutting down the net yesterday? How cool is that? What that does is that once this season's over, they take a week or 2 off, and then they get back to work. And then they want more and want more and want more. And that's how you keep a program going. And that's why this going to the NCAA tournament for this team, as young as they are, that's why this was so important, kind of unexpected, but important and vital for the growth of this program.
It really is, and you've done a great job of continuing to carry the torch for one of the best Division II programs in the country. I know you briefly touched on Barry. You said you're going to really start breaking them down. For our listeners, though, I know you've known Coach Estes for 30 years. What kind of style of basketball are we talking about from Barry that you're going to face coming up on Saturday?
I look real quick before I think I went to sleep last night. I'm not sure. But it looks like they score a boatload of points. And they just beat Embry-Riddle. They just got beat by Nova Southeastern in the championship. But, they did lose a game to Tampa. We beat Tampa by about 30 earlier this year. And that was a non-conference game, and I understand that. But it looks like they score a boatload of points. Butch used to be a Carolina guy. So this is back in the day, you old people, which it's only you, Steve, have to understand. Like Carolina stuff used to be, all the Carolina secondaries and all the Carolina sets, and we run similar stuff here, but I'm not sure if they continue to do that. Butch is a character, so who knows? They may just be freewheeling and playing. I don't know. We'll get it figured out today, but like I said, they're going to have to make a bunch of shots on us. Last night, the biggest stat to me last night that I was most pleased about, very simple, is at halftime, Union had 0 offensive rebounds.
Yep.
0. And that is the formula. The formula, very simple, is no free throws, no second shots, no paint touches. And if you can do that in tournament play when people are fatigued and tight, you have a chance.
Well, if there is one area I'd like to see us get better this week, Coach, it's free throw shooting.
Yeah.
That just that hurt to watch, as many missed free throws as we had yesterday.
Well, I've told you this before, and I will tell you again. I am not going to discuss it. I'm not talking about it. We will work on it, but it ain't going to – listen, if I think Costco made a bunch in a row. Luke's a great shooter.
Yeah, down the stretch, it was perfect.
Yeah, and I'm with you, but we're not going to bring it up. We ain't going to talk about it. Do not ask them when we get down there at practice. Say, Dad, God, what's your problem? That's a foul.
No, I'm not going to do that.
No.
If you've ever been on the golf course and if you've made a 5-foot putt, if you miss that 3-footer and then you miss it again, and then you start thinking about it, and then you got to buy a belly putter and then a long putter, and then you change putters. And why I know so much about that is that's me. All right? It gets in your brain, it gets in your head, and then you can't function anymore. And so that's why you just change grip. You just go to the claw and then hopefully push that ball forward, and somebody's going to give you a gimme. And so, but I was proud we did make some free throws late in the game. And, listen, we'll work on it, and we'll tournament play, NCAA tournament play, very simple. In 05 we played Wake Forest and Chris Paul. We led by 3 at half. The defense that we're teaching and that we've got installed is a tournament-type defense. And it bases it on fatigue, and it bases on tightness. And that's why sometimes you give up 22 threes against Embry-Riddle at the beginning of the season. But when the whole body of work you see, that it really does give you a chance to have success when you really want to have success. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, and so far we're doing okay.
Well, you've done a great job, Coach. Congrats on the Gulf South Conference Championship, your second in 3 seasons at the helm of the Chargers. On to the NCAA tournament and this matchup with Barry. Safe travels down there. We can't wait to hear the call from Steve Moulton this weekend. But congratulations to the players. Another net cut down, and hopefully another one to come very soon. But congrats to UAH and you and your staff.
Well, I really appreciate it. And like I always say, man, I really appreciate what all y'all do for us and for what y'all do for all these kids and all the sports up here in this area. It's important to people. You make it very important to these kids, and that's what it's all about.
Yes,
so
sir.
We really, really appreciate all of you.
Appreciate it, Coach
Thank
Shulman.
you, Coach. Look forward to seeing you.
Thanks.
That is Coach John Shulman. Incidentally, the team leader in steals is Max Shulman.
Mm-hmm.
So the different role that he is playing this year compared to last year. But it is a significantly different team.
It is, and I can say this with the free throw shooting. I can always tell how it's going with Steve's voice inflection if it's not going well.
I started to call made free throws for Union just because I think they were like 17 of 19 or something along those lines.
Something like that.
But there was, gosh, it's just little things like that that just can cost you a game and can cost you an opportunity to grab a ring or cut down a net. But the Chargers made the plays at the end, and boy, that start in particular, the Chargers made their first 6 shots.
I think they were
out
up
of the gate.
18-4.
Yeah, it was 22-9 before I knew it.
Yeah,
and you knew. I was most worried about that last 4 minutes before halftime.
Well, Scott was stressing the way Coach Shulman and the staff and Anthony Kamara and all those guys, Kamara, pardon me. Anthony Kamara, the way they stress in their staff, it's 4-minute quarters.
Yep.
You're trying to win every 4-minute quarter. So
Yep.
That's what they were trying to do, and they did so. They punched back. I mean, you would have expected Union to make a run, but I think Coach Shulman and the kids, I think they were battle tested. I think that's why they were able to answer for what they went through during the regular season. And when you guys talked to Anthony Kamara after the game, you could just sort of tell that that's what I think he was the proudest of, the young group growing up and answering, and all these freshmen, 11 freshmen, a lot of them COVID freshmen, but still very inexperienced relative to who they've been playing, the way they performed.
Speaking of cutting down nets, that's exactly what happened over the weekend at Auburn as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we will talk some Auburn basketball coming up on the other side. We can't call him J-Boy anymore, right?
Nope. Jake Crane coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They should be about wrapped up on those 2 wrecks in Decatur around Central and 8th. One of those had injuries. The other one had damage to the traffic signal there. Everything else looking good. We've actually had a smooth ride this morning. You be careful. Looks like we're going to have a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
We are
For 3, he'll hit it again. Drives in. Oh, mercy.
5
for the tie.
Bama.
Oh, my goodness.
Head coach Nate Oates and the Crimson Tide are ready to roll on the hardwood. Be a part of the journey on your home for Alabama basketball.
Your home of Alabama athletics is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental. Coming in April, Valley will have a second location opening up on the North Parkway between Winchester Road and Bob Wade. They'll be offering bigger contractor-only type equipment, including 10K reach forklifts, 300 series track hose, and larger rollers and dozers, along with other equipment. Valley Equipment's 2 locations will better serve the region and allow them to grow their fleet. Valley Equipment Rental, locally owned for 10 years, where they put more care in every rental.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse barbecue bacon sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
The next time the Crimson Tide Sports Network will take over the airwaves is tonight. Hey Coach comes over the airwaves at 6 o'clock, right after the drive is done, with myself and Wes Neighbors beginning at 5 o'clock, and our previous interview with head coach John Shulman brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. You can check them out online at sportsmedalabama.com or call to schedule an appointment today at 256-881-5151.
Yeah, absolutely. And our next guest, what a week he has had. He has taken the next step, I like to say. He continues to climb up the ladder of the podcast business and really the sports, just broadcasting world. Now he has the #1 rated podcast in the United States of America, sports-wise. That's huge. It's now known as Crane and Company.
So the J-Boy gear that I have, that's a collector's item right now?
It will be,
okay,
with the way he's climbing up the ladder here. But he has started his new his new podcast. You can find it on YouTube, find it on all Spotify. You can find it on all platforms. But he started it. It's been a huge bang-up success, Crane and Company. And he's had an even bigger week because he also got engaged. So it's been unbelievable for Jake Crane, and he's now with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Well, brother, I guess it couldn't have gone any better for you in the last several days. But congratulations on the new venture out of Nashville, Tennessee, and we thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, guys, you know how much respect I got for y'all, and I appreciate y'all asking me to come on. Yeah, man, I'm just waiting to wake up from a coma and see what semi-truck hit me.
I mean, you guys have grown by leaps and bounds in such a short period of time. And then, again, congratulations on the news from your personal life as well. Now in the great city of Nashville, and I know you guys are having a bang-up time, man. Just for the listeners really quickly, though, update them on the progress of the show and the steps you guys are taking.
Yeah, man, well, it's been unbelievable. I started the J-Boy show from a back room in a duplex in Tupelo, Mississippi during quarantine when I was coaching, and, not even 2 years later, we signed with the Daily Wire. We were with Cowherd and got offered an opportunity to be the kind of inaugural flagship sports show for Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire. And the funny thing is, we don't talk politics. So,
right.
It's like they said, if they wanted somebody to talk politics about sports, they got 6 people that can do it pretty well. So, we hit #1 overall in the sports podcasting for Apple Podcasts, #2 on Spotify right now. It's been just absolutely incredible, and it's been fun because, college football was really what we focused on in the J-Boy show in the volume of Colin Cowherd, and now we're talking about everything, from college basketball to the NFL to the NBA and beyond. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a good challenge. And they've welcomed us with open arms, and the audience has been great. And, Again, man, keeping politics out of sports. People want to talk sports. I mean, they do. There's a lot of channels you can go that kind of force feeds you the political angle of sports and what you should believe, and you're a bad person if you believe this or a good person if you believe that. Well, hell, man, I remember growing up and watching Sports Center and the reruns of it 3-4 times in a row, and all they talked about was sports.
That's right.
It's nice to provide that. You can find us. It's Crane and Company on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We have a YouTube channel, it's Crane and Company as well. My handle on social media changed it to @JCrane_. So, man, it's been fantastic, and excited to keep it rolling.
Well, let's talk a little Auburn basketball here out of the gate.
Fantastic,
cutting down the nets over the weekend, and they have won in several different ways, and that's a recipe for a deep run in the month of March.
Yeah, we say it on the show all the time, regardless of sport, the teams that can win the longest and the most are the teams that can win in multiple ways. And look, this Auburn team isn't the same team that Bryce Brown and Jared Harper and Schumann and them were on, where they were just going to shoot the lights out. They were going to play up and down. That was a good defensive team. But this team is all about defense and rebounding. They got the best front court in the country with Walker Kessler, who's blocked more people than Mark Zuckerberg, and you got Jabari Smith, who's the number one player. He's going to be the number one pick. I mean, you just don't see guys like that. But it all comes down to guard play. You win in the tournament with guard play, guys that are experienced, guys that don't turn the ball over. And if you look at the way they played against South Carolina, Wendell Green was really efficient. K.D. Johnson was pretty efficient. I like the three-guard lineup because Alan Flanagan's been a walking turnover. There's a lot of depth there. This is when it really helps you. But what you'll see is the rotations are going to start to get cut down as, the Nets were the other night. But when you look at this league, and I think Bruce Pearl said it the best, they won the outright regular season championship in what could arguably be the best year ever from a depth and talent standpoint in the SEC outside of what Tom Crean attempted to do at Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I do think it's a very deep league. I was irritated last week, Jake, when they got dropped to a 2, them and Kentucky both, because I think when you look at the SEC Big 12 Challenge, the SEC won. I don't think they're getting enough credit for that.
Yeah.
I still think they're underrating the league.
They are, and look, it's going to take some time. You're going to have to stack years over years, because, look, I mean, the SEC legitimately could get 7-8 teams in, depending on how this tournament goes. People say there's SEC bias in football. There's SEC bias against them in college basketball. But, look, the way you answer that is you have multiple teams make runs in the tournament. I mean, you look, Auburn, Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, Florida's close to getting in. Mississippi State's been the biggest disappointment. But you look around the league, there's Alabama can get hot and make a run. There's multiple teams that have enough to be able to hurt you in March. So this SEC tournament is going to be a back alley brawl, man.
It really is.
Jake, is it going to be harder? At least it is, to me, a little bit harder to read on this neutral court just because of those handful of teams that you mentioned that went undefeated at home this year.
Yeah.
So that neutral court, to me, makes it feel like I really don't have a pulse on who's going to win.
Well, that's what makes college basketball so much fun. I mean, I think this year, not even talking about the SEC tournament, but just in general, the NCAA tournament, there really isn't that 1 to 2 totally dominant teams that we saw last year with Baylor and Gonzaga.
Yeah.
There's probably 7 to 10 teams that could get hot and make a run and go win it. But on a neutral court, everything's even. It comes down to individual players and guard play. And I think what you're going to see in Tampa, especially with these teams that their backs are against the wall, is, I mean, you look at Mississippi State, for example. Molinar at any point in time can go get a bucket. He can keep Mississippi State in it. Quinn Jackson for A&M's playing at a very high level. They're playing at a high level, kind of the way they started the season. You look at Florida, Appleby can get hot, Castleton down low. So when you play on a neutral court, it kind of evens everything out. But my biggest thing is the ball you're playing with now isn't the ball that you're used to playing with at home. A lot of people don't realize that in college basketball, you play with a different ball. Now, the size is the same, but the grip's different. On a neutral court, everybody's playing with the same ball.
They really are, and I think this SEC tournament in Tampa is going to be fascinating. Auburn does have a legit shot of doing something that's very hard to do. Alabama did it last year, win the regular season and the tournament. If they do that, Jake, I know they're going to be a 1. I think they should be 1 anyway. I think if they pull off the double whammy, though, I think they got a shot to be the number 1 overall seed. But that's my opinion. That would put Auburn at 30 wins headed into March Madness.
Yeah, well, listen, and I want to preface this before I say this.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Mark Few has done at Gonzaga is incredible.
Oh, agreed.
Last year, with Jalen Suggs, that was a legit team. But I'm so sick of Gonzaga being so overhyped. When you play teams that parents still work the concession stand at halftime and they got volleyball lines on the court, I don't see how you could be the overall number 1 seed. I know they played Texas Tech and Duke earlier in the year, but college basketball from the beginning to the middle to the end is such an evolutionary game with the way teams develop. I do not believe this Gonzaga team will make it past the Sweet 16. I really don't. I hope they get to see Murray State in the second round, because I think Tevin Brown and them will beat them upside down. Every time they play a team that has athletic guards, they tend to get run out of the gym. So Auburn, from a number 1 overall seed standpoint, they should be if they win the SEC tournament. I mean, Arizona is a really, really good basketball team. I mean, I can go down the litany of teams that have a chance to be the number 1 overall seed. But if Auburn wins the tournament outright in what I think is the best league in college basketball, they should be a number 1 overall seed. But they won't, because everybody thinks Gonzaga is something they're not. It's like they're like the girl at the bar that looks like a 10 from 100 feet away, but you get 50 feet closer and she's a 6.
Yeah, I will say this, though. I agree with you with one thing. The guard play is ultimately going to decide if Auburn has a chance to get back to the Final Four and cut the nets down. K.D. Johnson has really picked things back up, and he's a guy to me that's the heartbeat of their squad. But the one thing they do have, though, if they get solid guard play, you also have to have a dude. Alabama had Herb Jones last year, but the dude is Jabari Smith. He's the unicorn. Yeah. He's the guy that can go out and get you 35 if you need it.
Yeah, well, everybody keeps wanting the government to tell us that aliens are real, and I watch one play every Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday. So, look, the things that guy can do, you just don't see those guys. I mean, you're 6'10", you can handle the ball, but the difference in Jabari to me is he goes up and rebounds. He wants to play defense. He's a humble guy. Now, at the end of the game, you got to start getting them the ball. I mean, Bruce Pearl has forgotten more about basketball than I'll ever know, but I do know one thing. When it comes down to that last shot, that 6'10" guy that can contort his body like a Cirque du Soleil trapeze artist or contortionist has got to get the ball, because that man hits shots that are elite, all-pro level shots.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He makes more difficult shots than anybody in the SEC. Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
No, well, there's not a bad shot when he takes it. I mean, there's no such thing as a bad shot. But a lot of other guys' good shots are bad shots because Jabari Smith didn't shoot it. So, it's kind of the problem with Duke right now. And they can say what they want about Banchero, but you're going to have to call John Walsh at 188 missing to find Banchero lately, especially at the end of the game. So, you got to have that dog. And Auburn's got one in Jabari Smith, and he plays so well with Walker Kessler because it takes a lot of offensive pressure off Walker.
It does. It really does. Well, before you go, and this is, of course, Jake Crane of Crane & Company, the #1 new sports podcast in the United States of America. His new show it's on Spotify, YouTube, any form of social media you need, Apple Podcasts. Let me ask you this. Are you ready yet to make a prediction about what you think may happen in Tampa at this SEC tournament, which may be the best one we've ever seen?
This has been one of the hardest prognostications, or predictions to look at, just because, you do have those teams on the fringe, right?
Right.
The Florida and the A&M that it's do or die. I still think it's Auburn or Kentucky. Look, Kentucky to me with Sheboy, I mean, Mr. Consistent, should be the National Player of the Year in my opinion. I do think it's going to come down to Auburn or Kentucky, but I would not be surprised at all to see a team like Arkansas win it. With J.D. Note and Devo and Jalen Williams, who's taking more charges than Pablo Escobar. So when you look at the tournament as a whole, I still think you got to lean Auburn and Kentucky. I would actually lean Kentucky a little bit right now.
Very interesting. Great stuff. Jake, we appreciate it. We know it's a very busy time for you. Again, congratulations on all the success. Let everybody know how to connect with Crane and Company as you guys continue to grow by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, well, we're live every day from 2 to 3 Central. You can find us on YouTube if you're a Daily Wire member. You can find us there, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It drops at about 4:30 Central, and check us out so you can see how many times I can be right compared to my brother in Cone.
Yes, great stuff, man. Congratulations, brother.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Jake.
Jake Crane from Crane and Company. It's crazy. I mean, how fast his show has grown. Though I remember spotting it a couple of years ago. I did a little research. I found out who he was. Who his dad was, the great Kurt Crane, the late Kurt Crane, great linebacker at Auburn and coach. And then his show has just exploded. And then now they're with Shapiro and those guys, and it's. And like you said, they've even kind of pivoted. They were very, very SEC football and college football and recruiting oriented. Now it's kind of national, but it's been a seamless transition thus far, and congrats to Jake Crane.
Auburn basketball in particular, I keep the one game that I attended was the Auburn-Alabama game down on the Plains, and got down there early enough to go through walkthrough.
Yeah.
And one of the assistant coaches came up to me and said, I know you probably know who Jabari Smith is, but take Jabari out of the mix. This was just during the shoot-around. Said, who do you think's the next best player? And I said, that two fella looks awfully pretty out there. And Jalen Williams, I'm just telling you, I keep being thoroughly impressed with his abilities out there, but he could be a big role player in the month of March for this Auburn basketball team. You certainly know what you're going to get with Jabari. You know what you're going to get with Walker Kessler. I mean, to a certain degree, I think you know what you're going to get with Mr. Green. So to be that deep on this basketball team, I think Jalen could be a big role player in the month of March for Auburn.
Well, so could Dylan Cardwell. I mean, they've got so many guys that can. That's what I marveled at when I was watching them earlier in the season. I knew they had Jabari Smith, who's a unicorn, and like Jake said, he makes more difficult shots than anyone. They got the best defensive player in the league. They've got the eraser Walker Kessler.
Yep.
But they've just also got so much depth on their basketball team.
Well, and you tell me, with Arkansas not being at home, Tennessee not being at home, Auburn not being at home, Kentucky not being at home, all things being equal, just if you give me equal talent on each team heading into a tournament, I'd be hard-pressed not to say that I might lean towards Eric Musselman as the guy I'd want calling my X's and O's if everything is equal.
Well, I like Auburn. I think they're going to win the tournament too. I think they're the best team. I think the depth, I know Jake was saying that the rotations are going to get cut down, and they may very well.
Yeah.
But I still think that Auburn's, the size, if they can get the guard play, like K.D. Johnson had 18 against South Carolina, if he can continue to score double figures and you get efficiency out of Wendell Green.
Yeah.
And then just steady play out of Zep Jasper. He's not going to score a ton.
Yep.
But if he doesn't turn it over and he gives you good point guard play, this Auburn team is going to be hard to beat.
So, again, the Moulton kiss of death in the month of March I have put upon the Arkansas Razorbacks. So, sorry, Hog fans.
Yeah, well, they are the number 4 seed.
What they did over the weekend was nothing short of remarkable because they were getting blown out at Tennessee.
Yeah, they came back and made it a game.
Yeah.
But ifs and buts were candy and nuts. It's kind of like for Alabama basketball. They didn't finish. They should have beaten Western Union. They're better than Western Union. They should have, finished the game, taken better care of the ball.
But it's not about the regular season. It is about the tournament.
Oh, you could totally rewrite the ending. See, that's what I'm saying, because when Alabama went on an Elite Eight run in 2004, that was a largely very disappointing season.
Yes.
Because it was a 17-13 deal, and then you win 3 games. And then people totally forget about that. Just like Mike Anderson and UAB went on a Sweet 16 run. Yeah. All they remember is what you do in March. Mm-hmm. They really – because that's why some Alabama fans were disappointed with that team last year when they only went to the Sweet 16. But they did. They went to the Sweet 16.
Only.
And, and they still – and people remember winning the SEC
like
regular
March
season
wins are
tournament.
easy.
But no, they had a remarkable year because when you go to the when you win the regular season and the tournament, and then you go to the Sweet 16, it's a major accomplishment.
Super difficult.
And it's just very, very difficult to do. And people were just really they were just heartbroken that they didn't go further because Herb Jones missed those couple of free throws. But you know how good Herb is. And, again, it was more a situation of Alabama had some open looks that they didn't hit, during the game. It wasn't just those 2 free throws. But speaking of Bama, before we take our final time out, Bama Bino wants to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. What's up, Bama Bino?
Hey, guys. Good show.
Thank you, sir.
Just wanted to comment on our local teams and how proud I was of them.
Sexton Lions, they got it done. Plainview Bears, 2 more, yep.
And they're dominant. How'd you like Luke Smith's show out there before the halftime?
Well, I wasn't surprised at any of that. I mean, I've seen Plainview play enough. I know how good a coach I've said this repeatedly. We had Robbie on the show, and he was already locked in, trust me, on Winfield. Yeah. But I'm just saying that they're one of the best programs in the state. Not just the best in 3A. They're one of the best in the state. He is one of the best coaches. There's nobody that prepares. I will say this: there may be some that prepare just as well, but there's nobody that prepares better than Robbie. He's such an outstanding coach. I think he's good enough where he could be a college coach. I mean, and he did help. He was part of Andy Kennedy's staff at Ole Miss at one time. So he is that good. He is tremendous.
Yeah, and I've watched those guys since they were in diapers. And they're not a selfish team. They're very selfless, and they've got a good head on their shoulders. I believe Luke's going to Tennessee Tech. Jayden's brother, Colvin, decided he just wanted to do engineering, but he, like I say, we had talked about he could have went to UAH, and I was hoping he would. But anyway, I'm just proud of those boys and Tisga and Section and all the North Alabama teams. And I wanted to also comment on Saturday at the Maravich Center. I think Alabama's playing better, in my opinion. But I'll tell you something. They're missing a lot of calls with this elbow pushing off. And then, Rojas was set 2 or 3 times, at least a second. And they're
outside of the circle.
Blocking fouls.
Yeah, I mean, it was some of these refs. I think they got cataracts, man. I really don't think and I don't think they understand how to call a blocker at yards. I know it's a 50-50 call, but some of them that they call blocks, you're just amazed, and some of them that they call charges, you're just like on J.D. Davison. Guys are sliding underneath him, he's elevating over them, and they're calling charges. It's like, you guys. I mean, it's just I know officiating's a hard job, but it's very frustrating.
Yeah, I really think that one was home cooking, though. I mean, I really do, because
Will's got a lot of money. I can tell you that. They don't call it Western
maybe
Union
had a
for
strong
nothing.
offer.
Yeah.
Well, it was bad. He might not have gotten right in his pocket, but when you use your elbow to shove off to make the shot, the defender can't set his feet to defend. And, they done that. I know I counted 6 times that they didn't call it. They called it a couple of times. But I just hope Alabama can just play fundamental ball. They've got the ability, if they'll just all play as one and do what the coach says and quit playing this pickup ball.
Thank you, Bama Bino. We are right up against it. I appreciate the phone call. It's always good to hear from you.
And thank you for listening.
Absolutely. Let's take our Tom Abraham break. It's 50 after the hour. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like we're going to wrap things up in pretty good shape this morning, not finding anything new accident-wise. You be careful on the rest of that trip in. We got a lot of folks scrambling, trying to get in on time this morning. Popeye's Flounder Fish Sandwich is only $4.49. You can make it a combo for $6.49. Popeye's, University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. March means basketball, and nothing goes better with basketball than a little badness from Bad Daddy's Burgers. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. Bad Daddy's is the place for chef-inspired burgers, giant chopped salads, and craft beer. Enjoy the madness with some badness at Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, 2317 Memorial Parkway. Check out our menu and even order online at baddaddysburgerbar.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Here are tomorrow's headlines today. This out of 247 Sports, Drew DeArmond, as they predicted the winner of the SEC basketball tournament, which begins on Wednesday. Incidentally, you'll be able to hear the entire SEC basketball tournament right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Your day one winners include Missouri and Vanderbilt. More importantly, on day two, That would mean Alabama takes on Vanderbilt. According to 247 Sports, they have Vanderbilt upsetting Alabama in day 2 of the tournament.
Well, I mean, that's not completely shocking because Alabama had lost their last 2 regular season games, and they barely escaped out of Nashville, 74-72. So, of course, there's going to be people, picking Vanderbilt to win. Now, if the officiating is as atrocious as it was at some points in the Vanderbilt game, and they let Scottie Pippen Jr. flop 50 times, there's no telling, what could happen. But, I do think Alabama's better than Vanderbilt. I don't think it'll be an easy game if Vanderbilt beats Georgia. But see, saying all of that, what will happen is Georgia will beat Vanderbilt, and then Alabama will be taking on Georgia trying to get revenge. Because when you start, pontificating and guaranteeing all this stuff.
Revenge tour for Alabama.
Well, it's just like last year in the SEC tournament. These Alabama fans were terrified because they'd been put out, umpteen years in a row by Kentucky, that they were fixing to play Kentucky in the quarterfinals.
And guess what happens in the quarterfinals?
And Mississippi State, beats Kentucky.
Yep.
So you never know. So I would say I do have a lot of confidence that Alabama they're getting a lot of rest, first of all, and hopefully they'll get Jayden Shackelford's legs back. He'll play better. But I think Alabama understands that, of course, they're in the NCAA tournament, but if you want to better your seed, you've got to win. And so there's got to be a sense of urgency. So because let me just be honest, Vandy's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They're not. They've got to win the tournament, which they have zero chance to do.
Yep.
They're not going to win
Too many good teams.
Yeah, they're not going to win 5 games in 5 days.
Yeah.
So this is not going to be a Dennis Felton.
Mm-mm.
Okay?
Mm-mm.
So I think, Alabama should be focused, ready to go. Understanding that they can still make a run in March. And again, they would play Kentucky after that. So they get another shot at Kentucky, who they played tough against Kentucky twice, lost both games. I definitely think Alabama would be the underdog in that situation. I've already been asked, can Alabama beat Kentucky? I think they can play Kentucky another tough game. I don't know if they can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think Alabama would win the game against Vandy or Georgia. I wish they'd get another shot at Georgia so they could get some redemption off that deal because, as we all know, the only win Georgia got in the regular season was against Alabama.
Yeah, 247 Sports has Arkansas taking on Kentucky for your SEC basketball championship matchup, and Kentucky with the – I'm not sure if this came from 247 Sports – or if it came from Joe from the Borough.
Jeff.
But
you can call him Joe sometimes. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
I'll be back later on today on The Drive with Wes Neighbors.
Yeah, well, we look forward to that. We want to thank John Schulman for joining us, UAH Gulf South Conference Tournament Champions. We want to thank Jake Crane & Company. Everybody have a great rest of your afternoon. Stay dry out there. Could be some rain in the forecast. And, again, the Czar and Chad coming up at 10.